Hello everybody, and a wonderful Wednesday to you. I welcome you here into my little basement dungeon garden for our standard weekly update on what's growing on down here. And because I'm going to plant some stuff, so I figured I'd bring you along for that too. So much for my I'll wait a couple months. But yeah, that's me. You can never have too many plant starts, especially when you kill them all, taking them outside. On that note, I'm kind of interested in learning how to harden off my plants, and I'd rather get information from my viewers based on your personal experience than just look up stuff from weirdos on the internet, because, you know, if you're watching this, then you know all about weirdos on the internet and unreliable information. So yeah, if you've got any tips or tricks when it comes to hardening plants off, please put them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, because I'd like to not kill off the vast majority of my pepper starts this year putting them outside. So yeah, I don't know, just shade cloth? Do I put them out in the mornings? Do I put them out in the evenings? I'm pretty sure I shouldn't put them out in the midday, but yeah. Well, and I know I gotta wait till the snow's gone, right? But yeah. Otherwise, any advice you've got would be great. Let's take a look at the starts and the hydroponics here in the dungeon. Up on the plant shelf, things are coming along quite nicely. These tomatoes are all doing really, really well. I'm very excited for the potential of the tomatoes this year, because my plan is just to cut off some suckers and I'm going to plant those. In my experience, suckers grow faster, really, than seedlings. So I'm not too worried about trying to clone the tomatoes. I'm very confident that that will succeed for me. These peppers, on the other hand, I have had zero luck cloning peppers, but based on the success RevToast TV has had with his one pepper cutting, I believe he said it's a pink tiger he's got in there. I've got some cuttings from that sandollar upstairs, hanging out with my houseplants in a white cup, hopefully working on developing roots, but they all look pretty sad. We'll take a look at that today too. Anywho, so here we have the shelf's pepper starts. This shishito, I think, is probably the best looking one on the shelf, followed maybe by this Scotch bonnet here, MOA Scotch bonnet, so Ministry of Agriculture. In theory, these guys should look different from the Scotch bonnets that I grew last year, because they weren't MOA Scotch bonnets, and compared to everybody else, mine looked funny. It's the best way to put it there. This Big Sun habanero back here is doing alright. Still a little moist on top there. Need to water the ají verdes. Got something going on with this carbonero pepper. I'm not quite sure what is happening to this poor thing, but I dissolved some eggshells a few days ago and then watered that down so that I had a neutral pH, and I mixed in some Epsom salts. So in theory, that should add some calcium and some magnesium to the water that I've got going through this. So what I did then was I mixed up this bucket here and added it to the hydroponic system. Unfortunately, you can see some eggshells that didn't fully dissolve in there. I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem for me, but we shall see. You know, in theory, I don't know what, they'll dissolve over time and they'll add that little bit of calcium to things. But the magnesium should be in full effect, you know, as I understand it anyway. A lot of people say to add Epsom salts to your peppers and your tomatoes and things, and it should help them grow. Yeah. Speaking of growing though, look at these crimson reds. These are absolutely beautiful. I am so pleased. The only negative that I could say about this is that the leaves seem to be really thin and what's the best way to... weak, I think, would be the best way to describe it. These do not strike me as good, strong, sturdy leaves by any means. I don't know if that's just because they're growing under a fluorescent light as compared to a natural light, or even maybe a hotter light source, but the plant itself is certainly growing and certainly doing well. Let's try and pull up one of these cups, take a look at the roots there. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty healthy root system. It's got some very nice color to it. I put a little bit of that calcium and magnesium water in there as well. So hopefully I'll get some crimson red harvested from my dungeon at some point. Would be fantastic. And then over here in the coffee can, I've got one of the yard fatale seedlings. Seems to be doing alright. Coming down here and squishing those aphids every day. But I still see a few more of them from time to time, so just a random squish as I go. Trying really hard not to transfer them down here on my clothes or anything. But with all the long hair, who knows? They could be coming down in the ponytail for all I know. We got one of the yard fatales in here in the hydroponics. It's got some odd shapes going on with its leaves, but it, you know, some of that could be me ripping the leaves as I'm squishing the aphids, or, you know, it could just be oddities with the seed itself. There's another yard fatale there. No, my mistake, that's not a yard fatale, that is a chocolate boudla. So, again, it's got some funky stuff going on the leaves, but I'm hoping this is all going to balance itself out. This chocolate boudla here in the cup, this is very light, needs some watering. Hasn't started to flop over or anything yet, but weak leaves, right? Weak leaves. This row of Bouchlokias, yellow ghosts, seems to be doing very well. These billy goats are doing alright. This one in the back is still, you know, my favorite. Not that I'm playing favorites, but it's doing the best of the billy goats that I've got here so far. That's just another yard fatale down in there. And over here in the Reaper container, still got 5 in soil and sort of got 1 in the clay there, but I don't think that one's going to make it, so odds are very good. This one here will get cleaned off and transplanted in the next few weeks. Or perhaps this one here in the back, it's a little stronger. Might be a better choice for that. Up here in the tomato bucket, well, tomato and cucumbers. Look at this. This thing's doing crazy good. Growing towards the light, very happy. These ones here are the Volunteer Juliet hybrids. And then in the back here, this is one of the Broad Ripple Yellow Currants. And this would be the Summertime Dwarf. Much different sort of leaf on this tomato plant. So I'm very much hoping I'll be able to carry it forward in the years to come. I love that smell from when you're touching tomato plants. You tomato growers know what I'm talking about there. It's just, oh, so vibrant. And then over here in the herb container, I seem to have a flooding issue going on in here. I don't know how well you can see it, but the water level is significantly higher in this container than it is in any of the others. I don't really want to go in there and check for blockage, but I guess I don't really have a lot of choice either. Seem to have algae developing from the light and the nutrients. That's going to be quite interesting as things go along. This oregano's still not looking too terribly hot, but these things do happen. Might be time to switch it out and just plain plant a new oregano. This Naga black pepper's doing pretty good. Very, very pleased. Chuffed, as some might say. The outcome there. I'm still hoping to take a lot of these red solo cups outside. There are a few varieties that I'll transplant and I'll put in larger containers and leave in the dungeon here. But that's why I'm so worried about learning how to harden off my plants. I've got a great selection of peppers this year. I've got the Chinese 5 colors and the billy goats and all those reapers and crimson red peppers and all of these great varieties that you guys have sent me, and I don't want to kill them off. I actually really I think it's more important to me that I do well with the seeds you guys give me than with the ones that I've acquired on my own. Don't really know why. It's just, I don't know. I guess I do know why. I want to make y'all proud. I don't want you to feel that you've wasted your seeds by sending them to that weird Canadian with a basement garden. So, yeah. All things in time, though. It's near the end of February. I've got a good 3 months and a week before I'm technically supposed to be planting any of these outside. So I got lots of time to learn still. But like I said, I would love to hear from your experiences in the garden and just see what I can take from that to adapt to my own personal gardening style out here in chilly Manitoba. Here's that sage I put into the Kratky peanut butter jar. It's got it's a weird cutting, so its roots come off kind of sideways, and that's just my fault for choosing a bad piece there. But these don't seem to have anywhere near the pristine white roots that pepper plant does. does seem to be growing though. It's a pretty happy looking plant. And we've got the New Mexico 6 chili growing back here. Again, we've got some very gibbled and strange looking leaves, but the plant is alive. So any advice y'all might have for me there too would be absolutely fantastic. As most of you know, I'm not an overly experienced hydroponic grower. I don't really feel that aquaponics and hydroponics count as the same thing, even though technically aquaponics is a form of hydroponic growing where you replace the nutrients with fish poo. It's still, to me, it's different. So it's a less natural system with the hydroponics, I think. It sure is nice to have set up in the basement though. I'm really, really enjoying this, and all things considered, there are way less aphids infesting my setup down here than I was dealing with this time last year. So that's exciting, even if I do have to squish and do occasionally tear some soft leaves. It's still less. As for what I'm going to get started today, I found some orange habaneros saved from before we moved, happily dried and preserved for a good long time. So I'm going to bust these open and see what I can find for seeds in there today. And I've got some green jalapeno seeds that I was given by Barb last year. I made that green chili paste out of those. That was really quite good, very popular with a few people that I shared it with. So I'm probably going to plant some of those as well because they did really, really well for us. She gave us bags of peppers because she didn't need all those extras. So if I can get something that will produce that well, I would be a happy camper. So let's bust these open and see what kind of seed collection I can get. So from 4 very old dried peppers, I did get quite a few seeds. I'm probably going to end up putting a dozen or so of these down just because of their age and kind of questionable nature. But I've got another little donut 6-pack here all set up with some nice moist soil. So I'll just plunk these in, label it, and throw it on the seed warming mat. Okay, maybe a couple dozen. What can I say? I like orange habaneros. It's not exactly a rare type of pepper, and you can buy them in a lot of grocery stores these days, but you can't even buy a jalapeno in the grocery stores in our little town. So I am very much hoping that a lot of these will germinate for me. Alright, so here's to hoping they sprout. I got some eggplant seeds here started because I totally needed to start those earlier last year. And I'm still waiting on, what, 14 Reaper seeds in those little peat pucks. But I don't know how much longer I'm going to wait on those because I do have 5 already growing, not counting that one I think is going to die. So, alright. Here's that pumpkin. I didn't take a look at this yet today. Definitely got some new growth coming off on these little side shoots. So, not dead yet. This is a stubborn little plant, but then again, I knew it was going to be stubborn. It sprouted inside the pumpkin. So, yeah. Well, it's about time for me to get around and start watering these things. Some of them anyway. Some of them look just fine. So, guess I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, thank you all so much for joining me on this little weekly update in the dungeon. I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to Sundays in the gardens in a few months. Once we've got things outside and you can actually see the lawn, it'll make it a lot easier to do outdoor garden updates. Right now I've got those couple of kale plants that are growing underneath those little cloches. Somebody gave me the proper name for those little mini greenhouse type things that I built, but yeah, they keep ending up getting covered with snow. I don't brush them off in time. They're currently brushed off, but the snow's been melting a little bit too, so it makes it a little easier for me to get to it. I don't think the sage made it, so it's a good thing I've got lots of sage planted in the house, and I will definitely take some of that outside for this next season. Yeah, looking forward to the outdoor 2017 garden season. Stick around and we'll go through it together. Alright, take care everybody.